Dustin Wood, how the hell are you, my friend?
What's up, brother? How you doing? I'm excited to be here, man.
Yeah. It's been a crazy 4 months, and I had this podcast going. I started it last July, and didn't really know what I was doing. Still kind of don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what I want it to be. I just want to get on, talk to people, see what people are all about. But then when all the craziness hit in March, I got super depressed, and I couldn't bring myself to be this cheerful and, hey, how's it going? And like, it just felt like I was really, really faking it. And and I couldn't do it. But maybe about I don't know, maybe about 4 or 5 weeks ago, I was like, okay, I'm ready. And that's when I called up Danny D, because we're good friends, and I knew that I could experiment with her, and you should be like, she wouldn't mind if I like recorded 10 minutes with her and then said, oh, this isn't going to work, you know?
Right. I mean, Danny's known for her experimentation.
Being a good friend. Yeah. She's crazy. I love her, man.
I love Danny to death. I love her so much.
Yeah. She's awesome. And then I saw you do comedy one time at a Blacktop open mic, I think. Could it have been?
Oh, yeah. That was when there was nobody there but comedians.
Yeah. So it was always a good workshop.
It really is. The only thing I wasn't used to is I'm not used to open mics where after you perform, the host goes up and goes, all right, what'd that guy do wrong? And the rest of the audience is like, I would have done this tag. And I was like, what the fuck is happening?
Yeah, that was with Josh and Al, and they just love to roast, so.
Yeah, Al's the best. That was my first time seeing Al, and Al, that guy is like quickly became one of my favorite like Sacramento comics. He's so funny.
Yeah, he's great. And Josh is so quick. Like I can't pun and I can't roast because I'm just like not that quick on my feet like that to just rip off the top of that's just not it.
I can't do that. I'm the same way. All my comedy is self-deprecating. Yeah. And so the second I have to turn it around on somebody else, you see how insecure and Catholic of a human being I am, because I can't like insult someone without apologizing instantly afterwards. So I couldn't do a roast. It would be the saddest roast in history.
I think I'm very much the same way. You know, me being a big guy, I think a lot of my humor came from trying to deflect the attention away from me back onto somebody else, right?
Same thing, exactly. Yeah. You wear it as armor almost.
Yeah, and so and Josh and Al are a couple of the nicest guys, and they asked me a couple times like, "Hey, you want to do a roast battle?" And I'm like, "Dude, I've seen 8 Mile. I know what this roast is going to be all about."
It's sad that you watched that and you were like, I'm definitely not Eminem in this situation.
I'm not going to let myself be.
Yeah, I'm Papa Doc.
Yeah, totally. That's such a great movie.
I love that movie. As growing up, Eminem was my hero. There's pictures floating around on the internet that I'm constantly trying to get rid of me in 5th grade and my hair bleached completely blonde and I'm wearing a white t-shirt and blue jeans. And it's like, it's so obvious that I was trying to be the fat Eminem in school. I looked like peanut Eminem, basically. It was bad.
Did you try to rap?
Oh, yeah. I remember a girl dumped me once because she said, I'm too tall for you, was the reason she gave me. And I remember writing an entire rap about her, but was afraid to perform it. So I just printed it out and put it on all the lockers. And people were like, damn, Dustin's really into poetry. I was like, no. Damn it. It's supposed to be a rap.
So Dustin, let's get people a little bit acquainted with you. You live out in the middle of nowhere, right? Is that what? Yeah. Because like when you message me, you're like, dude, I got nothing to do out here. Get me on your podcast. So
exactly.
A little bit about that place.
Okay, so I live in a very small county called Siskiyou County. And I live in a town called Weed, California. And it's right at the Oregon-California border.
Wow.
And it's incredibly small town. much like you, I deal with a lot of depression and stuff like that. And it was why I was interested to talk to you, because people don't understand that comedians deal with normal feelings just like, you know, non-funny people, I guess, but we deal with them on a higher level because we're talking about the shit that depresses us on stage.
Yeah.
For
Yeah.
everybody to hear, where most people just go to a therapist and we go on stage and tell these crazy personal things. So being here, I was getting super depressed because at first, when I first started comedy, I could only book myself at a club here. I was running the bookings. So I'd book myself to host once a month, and then I would bring in, you know, Robert Barry or Justin Rivera or Jimmy Earl, like bigger names to fill out the show and make it good. And once everything shut down was when things were picking up for me, and I was booked every weekend in Oregon and Washington and all this stuff. And now it just all got cut off right when I was having the time of my life. So I've been dealing with a lot of, do I stay in bed all day crying, or do I get up and try to write something funny?
Yeah. So how long have you been doing comedy?
I've been doing it 6 years now.
6 years. That's a pretty good run.
Yeah, I mean, I always wanted to be a comedian, but I thought growing up that you had to live in like New York or LA to realistically do it. And I went to, I graduated from college as a theater major, and I was really into acting. And then I got a really rare condition. You can kind of see my finger there, the bump on it.
Oh, wow.
So it's called blue rubber bleb nevus syndrome. And it's incredibly rare. Like less than 100 people in the world have it. And it attaches to nerve endings, and it causes a lot of pain and internal bleeding. And I just graduated community college as a theater major and was trying to go to a university to their theater department. And I ended up, my condition spread to my gums. And that's why I'm missing my teeth right now.
Okay.
I have one, but it's a fake tooth that I got put in when I was in high school. So it's the only one that's stuck around because it's like concreted in there. But
so did it just inflate your gums and push your teeth out?
Yeah, and constant bleeding, because these things are basically pockets of blood that leak every day and then refill.
Uh-huh.
And so it was just a constant wear and tear of constant bleeding. I was washing my mouth out all the time. And eventually it just started coming out completely whole. You know, it took away all the enamel and they just fell out. And after that, I couldn't get cast in anything, you know, because I was missing, unless it was like a hockey play or, you know, Deliverance the musical, they weren't putting me in it. And so I was at home, I was depressed, I didn't know what to do. And a buddy of mine, I didn't even have internet at the time. A buddy of mine went on YouTube and just stole a bunch of stand-up comedy clips, and all he typed in was Sacramento comedy. And so he brought me like 2 hours worth of comedy on a DVD, and I started watching it, and I remember thinking like, these guys are so good, they're so funny, and they're in Sacramento. Like, one clip was from Chico, one was from Reading, which is only an hour from me.
Yeah.
And it was like, okay, comedy's close. I made a list of all the people on that DVD, and I told myself like, one day I'm gonna work with all these guys. One day these guys are gonna be like happy to work with Dustin Wood. Like, I had to make this list as like inspiration. I just found out recently that I've worked with everybody on the list twice over, which is really cool, really exciting for me.
Do you remember some of those names?
Oh, I remember most of them. Jimmy Earl, J.R. de Guzman, Johnny Taylor Jr., Daniel Humbarger, Justin Rivera, Chad Beals, Sam Bruno, basically anyone that, Wendy Lewis, Robert Barry, anyone in the like Sacramento comedy scene that's been around longer than 6 years was most likely on that list. Wow. It was a lot of fun, man. It was cool. And a lot of these guys, like, I don't know how often you work in the Oregon area. None. There's a really great comic up here named Carl Lee.
Okay.
And he was on America's Got Talent, been on BET. He's an amazing comedian. And he hosts a club in Medford. And I went up there a week before I decided to do my first open mic. And I got to watch Carl Lee and Alex Elkin perform that night. And Alex Elkin, he had just won the San Francisco comedy competition. Like, in my eyes, these were big comics who were also on that list. So I went up to them and I was like, I think I'm going to try comedy. And as a comedian, I've heard that so many times now, and it never pans out, And so the fact that these two comics who just finished a show sat down with me for 40 minutes and went over my first 5 minutes of comedy.
Wow.
Is insane to me. Like, what great people, to pass that along, because they had to have heard it as many times as I've heard it.
Yeah.
But for whatever reason, they knew I was serious about it, or they were bored. Either way.
Yeah, they were waiting for their ride.
Yeah, right, exactly. They're like, you're buying drinks, right? Yeah, we'll give you all the advice you want. It was eye-opening. And then I did my first open mic, and I just fell in love with it. And now, luckily I've gotten to work with all those people. And every time I come to Sacramento, I always find new comics that I like fall in love with their comedy. One comic I want to bring up specifically, because he's just maybe one of the funniest guys I've ever seen, and I don't know if I'm pronouncing his last name right, is Joe Guffrey.
Oh, yeah.
He had an opening joke that literally, if I think about it, like I'll start laughing. He's so funny. And so that's what I love about Sacramento comedy scene, is I feel like it's a little underrated, maybe because it's so close to San Francisco or a little closer to LA. I think it gets kind of swept under the rug, and I feel like Sacramento comedy is maybe the best comedy scene in the world right now, and incredibly underrated. Like, what do you think?
I hear the whole underrated thing a lot, and I hear it from like middle tier comics that are just like, you can get like Sacramento's a good training ground,
It really, yeah.
And I think, yes, I totally agree that it's underrated. The best scene in one of the hotter scenes, definitely. But it's just so sad that everything has like come to a standstill. But like, even right now, like in the time that we're in, like what Laughs Unlimited is doing with the have you heard about what they're doing with
the silent comedy?
Yes.
Brilliant.
And I got to give them big props for that, because they're not sitting around like, darn it, what are we gonna do? Well, there's like, well, let's figure this out.
Yeah, that's all Jenny too. She's brilliant. Like,
yeah,
that's the brainchild of someone that loves comedy and is not taking no for an answer when it comes to putting on shows. Right now I'm in talks with drive-in movie theaters in Oregon, trying to get that set up, because at this point, if we wait it out, it's just we're never going to hear that report on the news saying everything's fine.
Yeah,
we're basically biding time until the next, disaster. So I'm done waiting for them to say it's okay to go out. Like, I already have a messed up immune system because of my condition. I'm more than anybody, I should be staying inside. But I have a mask. I do so. I'm Catholic, so I've been social distancing since I was 10. So I don't need to worry about being around people. I'm very safe, and I wash my hands all the time. I'm done being at home. I want to perform so bad, and I'm glad that some businesses are finally starting to see the light that, yeah, we can't go back to the way it was, but we don't have to. Let's figure out a new way so that comedy lives on.
Yeah. I've noticed that we're going to shift it back to you, like, and I'm glad that you brought up that you were a theater major, because you have tons of YouTube videos, you have tons of Instagram. I have a second monitor over here with your Instagram, and your YouTube, your Instagram, and your Facebook all pulled up right here, and there's a lot of really good work on here. You've got your DTV logo. You've got a WD shirt. Like, is this because you're up where there's nothing to do, so you just are always working on your?
Well, I'm a big fan of hip hop, and I'm a big fan of sports. And Michael Jordan was like best basketball player in the world, and he never took a day off. And comedy is the easiest job in the world when you're not doing comedy. Like the 23 hours you're not doing comedy, I'm always trying to make somebody laugh, whether it's online or through a t-shirt, or trying to sell a t-shirt, or trying to spread positivity. A lot of my shirts say "Be Here Now" on them, and I try to spread positivity and living every day as if it's your last. I want, if for whatever reason, if tomorrow's my last day, when people think about me, I want them to smile, and I want them to remember that they had a good interaction with me. So I try to spend every minute I'm alive trying to make someone happy, or make someone feel positive that's maybe feeling negative, or make them laugh. And so when I'm at home, I can't just sit at home and do nothing. I got to be making a new logo for a t-shirt. I have a t-shirt store up that has 40 different designs on. That's ridiculous. That's too many. But I keep going with it because if people are buying them for whatever reason, and it's fun, creative outlet. And the videos are a lot of fun, and it's a way of, I can't do comedy on stage, so I'll do it on a digital stage, if you will. I tried doing the digital like Zoom comedy shows. It's so difficult without an audience. Like, yeah, it's just weird.
Some comics have figured out their niche on there, and they're doing really good on them, Yeah. And now they're just getting more and more like it. The comics that I know that went all in on the Zoom, I remember like watching their Facebook posts and hearing them talk about it and saying like, oh, it's weird, it's awkward, it's that. Right. And now they're just boom, boom, boom. And I've watched a couple of the shows, and it's like, I think just like everything else, it had to learn to crawl before it could walk,
Exactly. And there's no way of doing it without doing it. Like you do as many sample shows as you want, but you're not going to know until you just like you said, the show you did with Danielle, you just jumped into the deep end, But what I will say, and I got to compliment you on this, is your show feels polished despite it being something that you don't feel. I don't know if you feel it's not polished, but to me, when I watched it, I was like, oh, I got to get on this podcast. How have I not discovered this yet?
Thank you.
So,
thank you.
Yeah, I think what you do. I think the biggest thing is the cat showing up in most of the podcasts.
Oh, it's the dog. She's right here. Look.
Oh, is it the dog? It's a tiny screen.
Yeah, she's right there. Baby. Oh, yeah. Look, right.
Oh, yeah, it is a dog. Oh, so cute.
Yeah, it's Penelope. She's like, I was taking a nap.
I used to have a dog, but our apartment complex we live in here, it's nicknamed Baby Compton. It's kind of like the ghetto area of my town. And which is like so insulting. Like, it's probably the safest ghetto in the world, but they still call it Baby Compton.
Yeah.
We, for a while, it was okay to have dogs, but then they stopped because there's an like infestation of feral cats that live here.
Oh, wow.
And they live in the dumpster area. They like walk around in packs. So everyone calls them dumpster cats. And literally, I ran over one's tail on accident backing out. And I see this fucking cat every day outside my house. It's the most thug-ass cat I've ever seen. It's always got like 4 or 5 cats behind him. And he's got like a scar over his eye. And he's always giving me that look like, bitch, one day I'm going to get you alone. Ugh. It's the scariest situation.
There's a neighborhood cat that just walks around up and down my street like it's their block. And the other day, I had my screen door open because, like, I'll leave the screen door open so the dog can go in and out during the day. And the other day, the cats just started to walk into the house. They're like, the cat like put a paw in, and like I looked up and like it looked at me like, what? And
my house now.
Yeah. And but yeah, these feral cats, they'll take over if they could.
Dude, they don't give a shit. They're not afraid of anything. Cats in general are just kind of like asshole animals.
Yeah, they are.
They already have that like I'm better than you type thing. So when you get one and then you thug it out by making it live in the dumpster its whole life, and like I saw 2 cats fighting a possum here, and they killed the possum and then dragged it into the dumpster area like dinner is served.
Wow.
I'm never taking my trash out again. I'm just going to stack the shit up in my house because I guarantee you I'm way more of a pussy than a possum. And I do not want to get dragged into a dump. Like, what a messed up obituary. Stand-up comedian killed by dumpster cats. Like,
and then like it's got like the dumpster cats mugshots and like its records and it's like and it's like the dumpster cat's gonna plead a deal. Like, yeah, I did it, but you can't charge me for all the other shit, you know.
It's like kill me, bitch. I got 8 other lives if you do it. I don't even care.
Yeah. Hey, you posted a video the other day of a little adventure you went on. Can we talk about that?
Yeah. So my friend, I grew up because of my condition. I was given like prescription medications from an early age, and it soured me on drugs. I didn't like it when you give a kid drugs and they don't know that. When you're a teenager, feeling high is a fun feeling. But when you're a kid, you just think something's wrong with you because now you're feeling things differently.
Yeah.
And so that's what happened to me. And so at a young age, I was like, dude, I hate drugs because I didn't like how it made me feel. It made me feel not in control. And so when eventually it got to high school and college, I'd never done drugs. I'd never done anything. And now that I'm in comedy and I'm around people that, are a little more recreational with their drug use, I've lightened up a little bit on my stance. So like I've tried edibles. The first time I tried an edible, I ended up going to the ER because my condition, if one of these pops, it causes like a chain reaction to the rest. And I'll just bleed out and die. And the doctor told me you'll feel really cold, like someone threw ice water on you. And so I took an edible, and it was a really strong one. And I didn't know that a side effect of marijuana is it can make you feel cold as well. So I started feeling cold, and I was like, oh my God, I'm dying. And so I called 911, and I was like, I think I'm dying. I feel wet. And they were like, did you go into water? And I was like, no, it's like I'm wet inside. Like there's something wet inside of me. And they were like, are you in danger? And I was like, no, I'm just with my dad. And I hung up. And I looked at my dad, and he was like, what did you just do? You just called the 911 and told them I put something wet inside of you. And I was like, I did? I didn't remember it. Right after hanging up the phone, the fucking the ambulance comes. They're doing like my blood pressure, and my landlord walked up, and I just put my hand up, and she turned around and walked away. And I turned to the EMT, and I was like, that's my landlord. She practices lesbianism. And then a couple minutes later, I looked at the EMT, and I was like, did someone walk up to us? And he was like, yeah, your landlord. She practices lesbianism. And in my head, it was my first time hearing that. And I was like, practices lesbianism? What an intolerant piece of shit. Like, I didn't realize he was saying my own words back to me.
Yeah.
So, even on edibles, I was like, I can't handle this. I'm not good on drugs. So that was 5 years ago. It's taken 5 years to work me up. My friends badgering me. You got to try mushrooms. You got to try mushrooms. You got to try mushrooms. So last week, I went to the lake with my friends and took mushrooms.
How much did you take?
Like, I don't know because they were all like chopped up.
Yeah,
I didn't know.
It's like just like a couple of stems or a cap or.
No, it was like if you filled up like it was like that much if you stacked it. It was quite a bit. I'm finding out that I took quite a bit.
Yeah, that sounds like a lot.
Yeah, for someone doing their first time.
Yeah.
They were like, yeah, you should have not, because at one point I could see trees inhaling and exhaling air. Like I could see them.
You described it perfectly. Like I haven't done mushrooms in years, but doing mushrooms was one of the funnest things in my life, right?
It really was. Like it was the first time doing drugs that I didn't feel a negative effect from it.
And you described it was exactly spot on what it's like to do mushrooms. I swear. I'm not trying to promote drug use.
No.
Well, I guess I am. I don't care.
I mean, at this point, I even say in the video, I was like, can I do shrooms every day? Because
yeah, you said that. You said that.
it was, I got in a fight with a dog and then apparently made up with the dog. My friends had to take my phone away because I called my ex-fiance and started, you made the biggest mistake of your life. And it was the funnest, like, 4 hours of my life. That's another thing is I found out from most people when they take shrooms, it lasts like an hour. And it was 4 hours for me that I was in this state. The worst part is I walk around the corner and my best friend's mom was at the lake that I've known since second grade. And so I'm like trying to act not like someone who's not on shrooms because I'm talking to someone that's been basically a second mother to me.
Yeah.
And
oh man, that's rough. Yeah.
so I'm like, dude, I nailed it. Like I got through that entire conversation. And my best friend called me the next day and he goes, hey, so my mom brought up a weird conversation you guys had. And I was like, what did I say? And she was like, hi, how are you? And you said, hi, I'm Dustin. I'm on shrooms. Wait, don't tell her that. She's your best friend's mom. She should know you're on shrooms. Hi, Trish. How are you? That I said all of that out loud. And I was like, oh, no, I thought I was doing so good.
But you did good looking back on it because, like, a lot of times, like, something like that could spin you into a bad trip. You know,
that's what everyone said. It's like, don't think of anything negative. Don't think of anything that scares you. But the second somebody says, don't think of something scary, the first thing you do is think of
scary.
Yeah. So my friend is on an inner tube in the lake, and I'm on the beach area, and he yells, don't think of anything scary. And instantly, it looked like someone pulled a plug on the lake, and the water was swirling around my friend like he was going down a drain.
Oh, it's crazy.
And I went, Nick, plug the hole. Plug the hole. And there's like families around me. It was so bad. But it was so much fun. That was the only like bad part besides getting in a fight with the dog. It wasn't a physical fight. I just felt like the dog was being mean, like rude to me, because it walked out of the water and it walked right up to me, and I leaned down to pet the dog, and it walked right in between my legs and kept walking, and I was like, what an unpolite asshole! Like I was so upset with this dog, and then Nick was deflating his inner tube, and it was making this noise, the air coming out. But to me, it was Nick killing this creature.
Oh.
And I was like, leave it alone. It just wants to live. And I was like, blow it back up and just let it live on the lake. And he was like, I paid $80 for this. And I was like, it's not your slave. And I was like getting in a fight with him over an inner tube. For me, it was fun. For all my friends, they were like, you were a nightmare.
Wow. So are you going to do them again?
Oh, fuck yeah. I already have plans. Like, I already have plans for next time I'm with, I have a friend, him and his wife are hip-hop artists in the Portland area, and nice. they also live in Grants Pass. Their names are Big Wino and Lee Goddess, and they were, like, upset at me that I did shrooms with other friends. They were like, come on. And so now all my different groups of friends from outside comedy are, like, making plans with me to do shrooms. So now it's getting to the point that I'm like 9 different groups of friends now want to do shrooms with me, and I'm like, oh no, what have I got myself into?
Yeah, a lot of people are microdosing shrooms these days, and there's been studies that it really helps with depression.
Oh, I mean, I could see why.
Yeah.
I felt great, and I was doing stupid shit, but I felt awesome. Maybe the scariest part was we were at the lake and they had this like porta potty set up. And my friend brought up, hey, I saw on the news that this guy like puts on a wetsuit and hangs out at the bottom of porta potties because he likes being pooped on.
Oh my gosh.
And I was like, why would you tell somebody on shrooms that as they're just about to go into the bathroom?
Yeah.
And so I'm trying to like arc my pee from across the room into the toilet because I'm like, I don't want to make eye contact with somebody in the toilet that I'm peeing on. And I was scared the whole day to go even walk by that bathroom because I thought I was going to hear like, can you help me out? Like I was so scared of this guy in the bathroom that didn't even exist. It was so much fun, man. I can't recommend it highly enough.
Hey, what do you have behind you? Is that stuff you collect, or are those action figures?
Yeah. So I'm a super nerd, like, and I'm a nerd about basically anything and everything that I'm passionate about. A lot of that is pro wrestling and superhero stuff.
Oh wow!
And then like on my desk here, I have a ton of like nerdy superhero stuff, like the Batmobile and Mega Man and stuff like that. I've always been, because of my condition, there was a lot of times I couldn't just go outside and play because, so a lot of my fun times as a kid were tied up with nerdy stuff and pop culture stuff. So like, I'm super into Robin Hood and Spartacus, like historical figures and superhero, like comic books. Green Arrow was my favorite superhero growing up. So I read a ton of those. I love collecting that kind of stuff. My room literally looks like a museum to all the times I didn't get laid because I was buying this stuff instead.
What is your baseball cap?
It's a Boston Red Sox.
Oh, nice. Okay. So you're a big Red Sox fan?
Yeah, I'm a big Boston fan. So
big Boston fan. Why Boston? Did you have
I have an uncle that lives out there, and I just love the attitude of people from Boston, Massachusetts. It just feels more in line with how I think and how I grew up. And growing up around my dad's one of those guys that he'll give you a compliment, but it's buried in 10 layers of talking shit about you. And so it's just very much how I grew up. And so growing up watching sports, it was always Red Sox, Celtics, Boston Bruins, and then the Patriots. I don't talk much about the Patriots these days after he who will not be named left our team. But
that was rough for all Patriots fans.
Yeah, it was bad. But I love all Boston sports. I love Boston in general. It's just.
Are you a fan of I don't know if you listen to podcasts, but I listen to a lot of Bill Simmons podcasts. Do you know who he is?
Yeah.
He's the Boston sports guy, right? Like,
absolutely. Yeah, there's people like in my house, we had weird idols in our house that maybe other people didn't have. So like Mark Wahlberg, Ben Affleck, and Matt Damon were seen as like gods in our house.
Sure, for sure.
Because it's like, those are our boys. And so growing up, for me, the comedy guy that I always liked, and at the time he wasn't big when I first got into him, was Bill Burr. Yeah. And now it's like, that's the epitome of being a white Irish guy in comedy.
Have you seen the YouTube documentary about the Boston comedy scene?
No, I haven't.
Oh my gosh, what's it called? I'm going to tell you what it's called right now, just so that it's called. Hold on.
Yeah, you'll have to send it to me. That's awesome. I definitely want to watch that. That's my dream right now. Is I want to perform at Boston. That's been my number one on my bucket list for the longest time.
It's called When Stand Up Stood Out.
When Stand Up Stood Out. And it's all about the Boston scene.
Yeah, and I'm sending you a link to it right now.
Dude, awesome. Hell yeah. I'm all about that. Thank you. That sounds amazing. Yeah, I want to perform in Boston, but I want to perform on a weekend that my uncle's not there. Because I don't know if I want to be in a crowd where my uncle is heckling me.
Right? Yeah, family is the worst. Right?
Yeah, but he's still one of those guys. He's like Boston. So like he's the only guy that I've heard him. He uses the word queer to like describe a newborn baby, and I'm like, that's not the right word. That's a baby you're holding. But he'll be like, oh, look at this cute little fucking queer, and I'm like, all right, come on, man. a little weird. And to him, he's not calling the baby gay. That's just like a term of endearment. Like to him, the word queer is like saying bro.
Yeah.
It's weird. I love the accents, except one time I heard him and my aunt getting intimate and during vacation, and I couldn't tell who was saying what to who, which was a little off-putting. Especially at breakfast the next morning. I'm just looking at my uncle and I'm like, I really hope you didn't say half the things that I heard. Otherwise, this may be the last vacation we have together.
So, is The Town your favorite movie?
Okay, my uncle's in The Town. The Town is my favorite. So, all the people in the background of those movies are extras from Charlestown.
Yeah, that's what I heard. I just rewatched Bill Simmons' rewatchables about The Town, and he was talking about how Affleck like just moved into the neighborhood and scouted locations. And
exactly, he did the same thing for Gone Baby Gone too.
Yes,
and so
another great movie.
A lot of people in the background had to be told to tone it down because cameras would pan by them and they'd be like, and like look at the camera. It's like, no, this is supposed to be a serious movie. But yeah, I love that movie. That to me, the movies that just kind of epitomize Boston are, Patriots Day. I love Patriots Day just because it's a true story, and Boston Strong. The whole thing Boston Strong came from that, and it just shows what a tough, resilient place Boston is. But I think The Town and Boondock Saints are maybe my two favorite Boston movies. Plus, I love Boondock Saints. Just growing up Catholic.
You know what scene I really loved in Patriots Day when you're talking about Boston Strong is at the very end when they're starting to move in on the suspects, and like the federal agents tell the Boston cops, okay, this is our scene, you're going to need to stand down. And the Boston cops like, the fuck we are.
Yeah. I love that. I love that attitude is like, the rules don't apply to them because this is personal and this is our home. Yeah. And I love that. I love all those scenes. I loved Boondock Saints growing up because it was Boston, you know, it was kind of like a superhero movie to me when I was
a rough movie. I only watched it once and I was like, whoo, that was a rough ride.
It is. But growing up Irish and growing up Catholic, it was like having our own superheroes in a way. Like as messed up as it was, the most excited I've ever been in my life was waiting in line to go see Boondock Saints 2. And it was on St. Patty's Day. And afterwards, maybe the 3 times in my entire life I've gotten blackout drunk. And I got drunk and I woke up. My friend was an aspiring tattoo artist. He wasn't licensed, anything. I wake up with the Boondock Saints prayer tattooed on my arm.
That's a lot too. That's not a small tattoo.
And it's misspelled in many places.
No regrets.
He tried to make it into a cross, but it kind of just looks like a guy that with bad penmanship that can't stay within the lines.
Wow.
And yeah, it was bad. The fact that I don't remember, this has happened to me twice by him. I won't get drunk around the guy anymore because
bad idea.
The other time he did this to me.
What is that?
And it's a cross and a shield, and he put Japanese characters underneath it, and I looked up what they meant, and it translates to harmonized beef wind, which sounds like the weirdest way to describe a fart ever. So he basically just put fart under a Jesus's cross, basically. And so both tattoos, I woke up wearing I remember I was wearing a white shirt, and all I saw was just blood outline of whatever tattoo he just put on me.
Yeah. Because
he didn't wrap it up. He didn't do anything. He was drunk too, so he just tattooed me and then went to bed. And so both times I wake up with just blood-soaked sleeve that's stuck to the ink on the tattoo, and I had to like cut my shirt off of me like trauma shears both times. And I haven't gotten a tattoo since. These happened like 11, 12 years ago. So I've been off tattoos, but I'm getting one next week, and I'm counting that as my first tattoo.
Is he still doing tattoos or?
Oh God, no.
No,
No.
okay.
And I don't care how licensed or how good he would have been now. I would not let him near me with a needle ever again.
Yeah, he done fucked that up. Yeah.
Yeah, no, he lost. He has 2 strikes. I'm counting him as 3
Yeah.
because wow. Yeah, so I'm getting a new one right here
I was just about to
this
ask,
week.
what are you getting?
I'm getting Be Here Now.
Okay, yeah, that's your thing. Be here now.
Yeah, I when I first got sick, I mean, since I was 8, I've been told that my condition is, they use the terms possibly terminal, which
Okay.
sounded weird. Like, just say it is or it isn't. Because my condition, I'm always at risk of them popping and me bleeding out. I had to, from a young age, I had to kind of deal with the fact that I could possibly die, basically.
Any
Like,
day. Right.
yeah. And so for the longest time, that was something that I ignored, and I would make jokes about it. And I would do it because I was the same way you and I talked. I was trying to take some of the power away from it, some of the sting. And it wasn't helping. When I was at my most depressed, I would literally have thoughts of like, I wish it would happen so I could just be done.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the wrong mentality to have. And I remember one day just thinking like, I'm so sick of being sad all the time. I'm so sick of being negative. And I watched, I told you I was really into Spartacus. I was watching the television show that they had about Spartacus that was out at the time. And I noticed that the actor was different playing Spartacus. And so I looked up what happened. And the original guy that played Spartacus died of leukemia. Non-Hodgkin's disease. And he died from it, and they had a documentary out called Be Here Now, the Andy Whitfield story. And so I watched it, and this guy was at the top of his career acting. He had a beautiful wife and children, young children. He had this awesome life, and he got cancer, and everybody in his life was freaking out except for the person that had the actual cancer. And he was like, hey, if this is it, this is it. But if it's not, like, I'm going to tough my way through this. We're going to be fine. But let's not worry about what might kill me in 4 months. Let's be a family today. Let's be here now, basically.
Yeah.
And so he got it. They used to have to inject him with what's it called when they it's like the chemicals they put into you to fight cancer.
Okay, no, I'm not sure.
Yeah, I can't remember the name right now either. But like he was going through all that stuff, and he got a tattoo right here that said "Be Here Now," so that every time they put the IV in, chemotherapy.
Okay.
Every time they put the thing in for chemotherapy, he would see that tattoo and remind himself, look, this is scary now, but it'll be over within an hour, and then I get to be with my family, and I get to be with my friends. And so it just clicked in me. I was like, it was such a great mantra, be here now. I'm done being negative. And it's how I've lived my life ever since. And I'm the happiest I've ever been in my life, despite having to deal with some of the hardships that the old me would have crumbled from these things, you know? But I face them head on now. And I've actually got an opportunity a few times to talk to Andy Whitfield's widow, Vashti. And we've gotten to talk. I told her like what an inspiration that documentary was and what it means to me. And she's really supportive and she's really cool. So I'm excited to get it tattooed on me. If I can, just one person in my life, if I can make them feel better because of the experiences I had, and that tattoo triggers that for somebody, or a t-shirt with it on there, then it's worth it. You know?
Or someone's going to ask you about the tattoo and you're going to have that talk. And
exactly.
Yeah. That's
like a non-invasive way of bringing it up to someone.
Yeah. That's awesome, Dustin. Be Here Now is also the title of the 3rd Oasis album.
Oh, really?
Which is a really great record too. Yeah. Be Here Now. Yeah.
I didn't know. That's exciting. Do they have a song called Be Here Now, or is it just the name of the album?
No, I don't think they have a song called Be Here Now, but it's just like, it's the name of the album, and it's kind of like a recurring theme in a lot of the songs. A lot of like what you just talked about of like, fuck it, we're right here, right now. You know,
right.
Like, let's just ride this out. Like, yeah, like we fucked up a lot in the past, and like, we don't know exactly what fucking tomorrow may bring, but like, right here, right now. You know, this is what we can control. You know.
That's so cool, man. I'm gonna have to check that out. That's
yeah,
amazing.
check it out, man.
Yeah,
Dustin. Yeah. Oh no, go ahead. I didn't mean to cut you
Oh,
off.
I was just gonna say. Sorry, I just last thing. I know that it's based off of like a philosopher named Ram Dass. And like he had a book out called Be Here Now, and a lot of his stuff was just like, don't listen to like your teachers or society telling you like this is how you deal with trauma or stress or negativity. You are in control of it. Your brain, you can tell yourself and convince yourself of a lot of stuff. Yeah. And we live in a society nowadays is like, I'm sad. Oh, here's a pill for it.
Yes.
And we are in so much more control than we realize. So that's something that I'm very passionate about passing on, even though I'm saying that now, but I also just told you a story of me taking shrooms. So.
Oh man. Dustin, let's wrap it up, man. I let me tell you that I know that you and I we had never sat down and had a conversation. Like we crossed paths. We're kind of like doing the same thing. And so I was like, man, I hope this conversation flows. But it really did, dude. I have really enjoyed talking to you and learning about you. And I'm going to be really happy to put this podcast out into the universe. And hopefully someone can listen to it and be like, oh, fuck yeah, man, these two dudes could figure it out. These two dudes can figure out how to be a little bit happy right here, right now, today. Like, that's totally, I fuck with that philosophy hardcore, man.
Exactly. That's what I want people to look at me and be like, if this toothless fat guy has figured out how to be happy, then I can be happy. And
yes.
That's all I want. I got to say, man, I had so much fun doing this. Like I said, we haven't had a ton of interactions. You are an incredibly fun person to talk to. I had so much fun. I would love to come back anytime you want me, man.
We're gonna run into each other further down the road. Okay. I just know it. Hey, I want to plug your social medias and anything you got going on.
Sure, I'm on Instagram mostly at Adorkable Dustin Wood.
Okay.
I'm on Facebook at facebook.com/Dustin Wood Comedy. And I'm part of a touring comedy group called Stuffed Pickles. And we are on YouTube right now. That's where at Stuffed Pickles Entertainment. And you can find us on Instagram, Facebook as well. And that's where a lot of my sketches are posted and stuff like that. I'm always putting content out. And if you want to buy a t-shirt like this one or the 40 other designs I have up, you can go to tpublic.com and just search Adorkable Dustin Wood and they'll pop up.
I will put links to all of that in the episode page. So
awesome, and thank you so much.
Make it easy. Dustin, stay safe out in weed and stay positive and keep pushing it, man. I really appreciate you.
Oh, thank you, brother. I appreciate you.
All right, man. Take care, Dustin.
Take care, buddy.
Peace. You don't have to hang up. That's just what I'll end it.
Yeah, no, I figured.
That's where I'll end it. Yeah, that was a good time. So, Dustin, what I do is I'll put the video up maybe tomorrow night. I'll let the video sit on YouTube for a couple of days, and then I'll put the audio up on my podcast page. So,
okay, cool.
And I'll send you links to everything. I'll post links to everything.
Awesome.
I'll have like a little 60-second clip that you could use on Instagram to promote, and we'll just, and it'll be out there, and we'll go from there.
Dude, thank you so much. I hope I was okay.
No, you were great. You were great. You're great, man. I really appreciate it.
And I appreciate you bringing up the DTV and all that stuff. I just started that up, so I sometimes forget to promote it because I just
yeah. Well, like I said, I was a little bit nervous, so I was like, let me be ready. Let me have something, you know.
Right. So, I appreciate it, man. I'm glad that it worked so well. You're super easy to talk to, man. So that was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I'm a talker.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I'm always afraid I take over podcasts by talking to you.
No, that's what you're supposed to do.
Well, thank you, man. I appreciate this. I hope you'll have me back on some other time.
Yeah, for sure. All right, Dustin. I'm gonna head out now. Let the dog out.
All right, brother.
All right, take care, brother. Peace.
Take care, man. Thank you.
All right.